today we're looking at Gulfstar 43, built in 1978. This boat was on the hard, which means it was out of the water. This is the first boat that we saw that was on the hard. All the rest of the boats we saw during this trip were splashed or in the water.
We had to help homeboy get this ladder up because apparently he had just broken his arm or something. So, you know, make sure we get it up right so we all safe and whatnot. This boat is exactly what we were looking for as far as the hull goes.
Yeah, hull design was very nice. The elongated keel and the skeg-hung rudder were sail characteristics that we were really looking for, especially with the type of cruising that we want to do, going in the Bahamas and crossing oceans. This was something that we preferred. As soon as we boarded the boat, we noticed that it was in really good condition. You can look at the woodwork and
It's beautiful.
yeah. All the stainless steel is polished and just looks like the boat has been well maintained.
Yeah, having really nice wood on the outside of a boat really tells you how much the owner took care of the boat, because, you know, if this person who owned the boat also would sail quite a bit, if you see wood that looks really nice and polished and stuff, then you know they took care of it very well, because a lot of older boats, especially, the wood will be pretty beat down and looking a little raggedy.
And I guess that also kind of shows that this boat may not have gotten as much action as other boats, because it may have sat in a dock or on the hard and been maintained and not sailed, which is both a good and bad thing.
As far as the deck goes, it was really well maintained in most areas. This area right here is just showing a little bit of
Like some spider cracks.
yeah.
But overall, the deck was in really good condition. When you walk a cabin top and the deck of a boat, you're looking for like spongy areas and soft areas. If anything under your feet doesn't feel firm and solid, then you've probably got a leak or a delamination issue. So
It's a problem.
the whole boat felt real solid.
This cockpit was tiny.
Yeah, I think this was my least favorite part of the boat. The hardtop seemed to be limiting my ability to stand up straight. So yeah, just
Frank is 6'1", so height is definitely an issue for him on some boats.
the cockpit was just kind of bad vibes. Both of the settees on starboard and port side pulled out to make double berths, so those were real cool. Would be comfortable on either tack if we needed a seabed while we were underway.
I loved the large TV. I do feel like that was a really nice point of this boat, just showing that even though we probably wouldn't keep that TV, that was a nice sized TV.
I believe the broker said that the vessel had 2 brand new air conditioning units, so whenever we're at dock, we'd be nice and comfortable. Eventually, we do plan on upgrading whichever boat we choose with substantial solar and battery banks, so we'll be able to run ACs at anchor. And it's just good to know that this boat would be starting with 2 brand new units.
It's a little difficult to see, but there are 2 doors that go into this forward bathroom. The one in the V-berth was just extremely awkward to maneuver into. I feel like if you were in the V-berth and wanted to go to the bathroom that's right next to the V-berth, you would either have to continue to lay on the bed and open the door and then get off the bed to go in, or it might just be easiest to go in from outside of the room. So I felt like that was a really weird configuration.
It seemed like the majority of the opening hatches were recently replaced. They were a very nice stainless steel port and they looked pretty much brand new. The non-opening ports looked like they were in dire need of replacement. They also looked like they were leaking, so they were causing some rot on the wood and the interior paneling. So those were definitely areas of concern.
The interior of this boat really was gorgeous. It was kept up very, very well. Over the course of our boat journey, I would say this is probably one of the super top tier for our price range for all of the boats that we've seen.
Just like as far as cleanliness, very clean. You know, a lot of these boats that are sitting and are for sale are typically messy and just kind of in bad shape, but this one was really clean. It looked like the owner had a good pride of ownership. Really took good care of this.
I love the windows in this aft cabin. It brings in a lot of nice light. I love natural light. And I also loved the amount of storage we had in that aft cabin. Lots of drawers as well as a hanging locker. So that was cool.
The broker used his good arm to help me lift up the sails that were in the galley, so we got a good look at that. There was a 2-burner stove with oven under there.
We did feel as though with this boat we would need to replace quite a few lines.
Yeah, some of the halyards and the sheets were frayed and just looked like they were out in the sun a lot and definitely needed to be replaced before we did any serious sailing.
Overall, there were a lot of really nice positives with this boat. The way it was maintained really just made it a gorgeous boat. However, I think my biggest issue with this boat was the forward cabin. Although we wouldn't really be in the forward cabin ourselves that much, I guess I just mostly think about guests that we have to feel comfortable on the boat, and I just felt like that wasn't really all that comfortable.
I think my biggest detractor was the cockpit. The cockpit seemed very uncomfortable, being forced to stand while underway or having to sit to the side of the helm, and also not being able to stand up completely straight. Also, was a strike.
Posture.
Yeah, exactly. I did like the condition. I know we talked about that before, but it just was surprising that in our price range, this boat was in such great shape. any repairs that we would have to make to it were more so along the lines of non-use. There was no neglect concerns. There were just non-use concerns. Things had been out in the sun for a long time.
Yeah, because the guy actually told us there used to be a dinghy, but because it had been out in the sun so long, the dinghy kind of just fell apart. Which also makes me think of the dinghy davits that were back on the back of the boat. We thought that any dinghy that we would like to have, we would need to make the dinghy davits thicker.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out our tour of the Gulfstar 43. Join us next week when we review the Ep.4 CT 12,000.
Just make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of those different things. Follow us on Instagram. Join us on our journey. That's it. We'll see you next week.
I like how even this wood on this, what is this called? Is even whatever, the area to get in and out of the boat. Y'all know we're new, okay? We new to this sailing stuff, so we don't know all of the terminology.
I know the pieces are called washboards.
Yeah. But whatever.
That was the Gulfstar 43 boat tour. Make sure you tune in next week where we'll be touring a Ep.4 CT 12,000. We're going to be looking at another boat.